Welcome back to your one-stop shop for everything coins, currency, and collectibles. If you're into coin collecting or just curious about the change in your pocket, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a new video. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic American coins, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar. It's big, bold, and packed with history. But the question we're asking is, does it have any value beyond 50 cents? Let's find out. The Kennedy half dollar was first issued in 1964, just months after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Americans loved the design, and they still do. The coin features JFK on the obverse, and the presidential seal on the reverse. Fast forward to 1974, this was the 11th year of the Kennedy half dollar. By this time, the coin was no longer made of silver for circulation. That stopped after 1970. So, 1974 Kennedy halves were struck with a copper nickel-clad composition, just like your modern quarters and dimes. There are three versions of the 1974 half dollar: the Philadelphia Mint, with no mint mark, about 201 million minted; the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark, over 79 million struck; and the San Francisco Mint, which produced proof coins only, about 2.6 million. Alright, let's talk value. In circulated condition, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is generally worth face value 50 cents. That's because they're not rare, and they contain no silver. However, there are always exceptions. If you find a 1974 half dollar in uncirculated or mint state condition, it might fetch anywhere from $1.50 to $10 depending on grade. A really nice one, graded Mississippi 65 or better, especially from a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, could be worth $20 to $50 or more. But remember, condition is everything. Now here's where things get exciting. There's a known variety called the 1974 D double die obverse. This error shows noticeable doubling on the lettering, especially in God We Trust and Liberty. If you spot one of these, its value can jump to $40 to over $200, depending on condition and demand. So, next time you're hunting through half-dollar rolls from the bank, keep your eyes peeled for uncirculated 1974 coins. That 1974 D double die and clean, high-grade examples worth submitting for grading. Fun fact: Kennedy half dollars are still minted today, but mostly for collectors. You won't see them in circulation often, which makes finding one in your change that much more exciting. To sum it up, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is a cool piece of Americana. In circulated condition, it's mostly worth face value, but in top condition or with a rare variety, it can be a real treasure. Have you found a 1974 Kennedy half dollar? Or maybe even the double die? 1974, a year of change in America. The Vietnam War was winding down, Nixon was facing impeachment, and disco was just beginning to echo through the airwaves. But among the political turmoil and cultural shifts, the Kennedy half dollar was first minted in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The U.S. Mint rushed to honor the fallen president, and by March of '64, his likeness was on the 50-cent piece. Originally struck in 90% silver, the coin saw enormous public demand, not just as currency, but as a memento. Millions were hoarded, collected, and rarely spent. Fast forward to 1974. The Kennedy half dollar was still in production, but no longer in silver. Since 1971, these coins were struck in a copper nickel-clad composition, the same used in dimes and quarters. Why the change? Rising silver prices and economic concerns made silver coinage impractical for circulation. The 1974 Kennedy half dollar is a clad coin, made of an outer layer of copper nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs 11.34 grams and measures 30.6 millimeters across. While not rare, it's a crucial piece of American coinage history. Three mints produced the 1974 Kennedy half dollar: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia struck over 201 million coins, no mint mark. Denver added about 79 million, marked with a small D under Kennedy's bust. San Francisco? They produced a proof version for collectors, around 2.6 million. These carry an S and are known for their mirror-like finish. The Kennedy half-dollar was intended for everyday use. But by the mid-70s, it had become uncommon in pockets and cash registers. Why? People weren't using them. Despite high mintages, half-dollars just didn't fit into modern commerce. Vending machines didn't take them. They felt too large, too unfamiliar. So many 1974 half-dollars ended up in drawers, piggy banks, or forgotten. While the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar is common, a few special varieties pique collectors' interest. Some collectors hunt for double-die obverses, where the lettering appears doubled, especially on "In God We Trust." These are rare, and values vary depending on condition. Most 1974 half-dollars are worth just face value. Uncirculated examples can go for a few dollars. Proofs might fetch $5 to $10. And errors? That's where you could strike gold. Some double dies have sold for hundreds. Beyond the metal and mint marks, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar is a symbol. It represents America's reverence for Kennedy, a young president whose legacy loomed large in a turbulent decade. It's a link to a pivotal era. And whether you carry it, collect it, or simply admire it, each coin tells a story. Next time you come across a Kennedy half-dollar, especially one from 1974, pause for a moment. You're holding history in your hand. Have you ever found a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar? Share your story in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more coin history.